What's up, YouTube? Welcome to Fun of the South. I'm Paul, this is my wife Jill, and for today's adventure we're going to check out Elvis Presley's entertainment exhibit thing, museum. That's what it is. It's a museum. It's a big museum.
Oh my gosh, Paul.
Complex.
The entertainment and exhibit complex.
That's what I said. I said that.
Oh. Okay.
Anyway, that's what we're checking out. It's basically a giant museum full of EP stuff. It's all fabulous EP stuff. We like to share it with you. We got the cameras rolling, the battery's charged, so let's go see what we see. Come on. Just across the street from Elvis Presley's house is Graceland Air. That's the home, the permanent home of Hound Dog 1 and Hound Dog 2, Elvis's personal jets. The first one we're looking at here is the Convair 880. Elvis purchased this plane for $250,000. Then he spent another $800,000 on it to turn it into a flying mansion. He basically was the original baller. This plane was named the Lisa Marie after Elvis Presley's only daughter. After Elvis finished the inside of his plane, he topped it off with some fresh paint on the outside, along with a custom FAA registration number, N880 Echo Papa, Elvis Presley. Had to add the TCB logo to it because you got a TCB, even when you're flying those friendly skies. Here's a fun fact for you. Elvis and Priscilla Presley came up with the TCB logo with the lightning bolt while they're flying on this plane. Pretty cool. Welcome aboard the Convair 880. We'll ask you to fasten your gold-plated seatbelts. We'd like to encourage you to grab a Elvis Presley in-concert jacket on your way in. They're hanging in the closet as you enter the plane. As per part of the standard pre-flight of the Lisa Marie, Elvis has talked to the pilots and told them if there's any reason that they know of we should not fly tonight, let's not fly. They told him it's all good. He said, great, let's fly. We encourage you not to sweat on the Lisa Marie while we're in flight, as we've covered all the furniture with plastic. Excessive perspiration can cause a slipping hazard. On the behalf of staff of Graceland Air, we'd like to remind you that the seats cannot be and should not be used as a flotation device, as they are made of heavy suede, leather, and custom hardwood. Thank you. For your in-flight entertainment, we'll be watching old VHS reruns of Name That Tune, as per Elvis's request. Your in-flight stewardess will be circulating throughout the cabin, offering Gatorade, Dr. Pepper, and Mountain Valley water. The crew of the Lisa Marie would like to remind those of you sitting in aisle 4, that is a conference table, not a surfboard. Please refrain from reenacting scenes from Blue Hawaii on it. Thank you. We'd like to draw your attention to the sound system of the Lisa Marie. During the flight, we'll be playing 8-track tapes of Elvis's favorite music on all 52 JBL speakers at the same time. We hope you enjoy the music. The pilot and crew of Hound Dog 1 would like to remind you not to sit in this seat, as it is reserved for the king of rock and roll, Elvis Presley. If you decide to take a nap during flight, please strap yourself in with this full-size seatbelt in Elvis's bed. Also here on the Lisa Marie, if you need to make a personal call, we recommend you use your own cell phone because this thing ain't working no more. For those of you waiting for a haircut from Larry Geller, we ask that you form a line at the rear of the Lisa Marie, as he will be coming on board once we land. In the meanwhile, we would encourage you to stand in front of this mirror and look at your hair and think about what you'd like to have done with it. Elvis Presley always wanted his own fleet of airplanes. Although the Lisa Marie was the pride of the Elvis Presley Airways, during the renovation to the Lisa Marie, Elvis used this Lockheed Jetstar, nicknamed Hound Dog 2, for his travels, all while adding the TCB logo to the exterior, and a custom FAA registration number, N777 Echo Papa, Elvis Presley. Elvis Presley paid $900,000 for Hound Dog 2, And although Hound Dog 2 did not require any major changes, Elvis did make some adjustments to the cabin and some changes to the seating color to better match the taste of the king of rock and roll. Our next stop is the Elvis Presley Entertainment Career Museum. And honestly, it's a giant complex. I mean, this place is huge. This is a 200,000 square foot museum for all things EP. It includes exhibits, restaurants, gift shops, and houses some of Elvis's most iconic things. So our first stop is going to be Presley Motors. When you first enter Presley Motors, the amount of awesomeness that is everywhere in this room is almost overwhelming. It was all I could do is just to not to go around to armor all things. Wax on, wax off. There's a ton of cars in here that are just awesome, but this one was kind of my favorite. This is a 1975 Ferrari Dino 308 GT4 Coupe. This car is cool on like a bunch of levels. One, it's a Ferrari, and number two, it was Elvis Presley's. Those two alone make it pretty awesome. One thing about this car, it only has 205 horsepower. Now, in today's standard, that isn't much, but back in the day, that was pretty darn good. I mean, this thing had a top speed of 142 miles an hour. You know, one thing I saw in this car that made me kind of sad, Elvis only had this for like 6 or 7 months before he died. Because if you look at the license plate on it, the expiration on it is February of 78. He died in August of 77, so.
Oh, wow.
I wondered how many miles were on this, but you couldn't really see in there. I looked inside, which is kind of cool.
Do you think it still drives?
Oh, I'm sure. All right. Moving along.
Gold alligator top, Paul.
Yeah, we're talking EP here. I mean, this thing was special ordered that way. I mean, what kind of car do you have if it doesn't have a damn alligator skin top?
I'm telling you.
Steve Irwin would be rolling over in his grave.
Yes.
Crocky, what a beauty. Now, this was really a cool car.
I like this car.
This is the 1962 Lincoln Continental 4-door. MSRP of just over $6,000. One other cool thing about this car is it does have the rear suicide doors. I'll bet you this thing found a couple thrills on Blueberry Hill. Bow, chicka, wow, wow. Elvis had two of these 1969 Mercedes 600 limousines. The blue one here is a 4-door version. Compared to the 6-door Pullman version, it had a little more power and a shorter wheelbase. Now this black one here is the 6-door version. This particular one was saved basically for diplomats, presidents, you know, people like that. Oh, and Elvis Presley. I'm not really sure what that thing sticking up off the back is. It kind of looks like a coat hanger. I'm thinking maybe a TV antenna, but I'm not sure. Your guess is as good as mine on that one. Now this one here is very traditional EP. Matter of fact, there's a couple photos where he has cars. I don't know if it's this exact one, but very similar to this one out front of Graceland. This is the 1975 Lincoln Mark V, and oh my gosh, what a boat. If you notice, this thing had a top speed of 119 miles an hour. I don't want to be anywhere near that car going 119 miles an hour. Something's getting smashed and broke. In true EP style, we've got the TCB logo embroidered in the back of the seats.
What is that thing, 50 feet long?
It might be 60.
That is really cool.
I bet you it was comfortable, man. That's like driving around on your living room couch.
Like riding on a cloud.
Taking care of business. This is Elvis's 1965 Honda Dream Touring 300 motorcycle. It's kind of cool. It's got that old school flavor. I kind of like it. It also reminds me of the motorcycle he rode in the 1964 movie Roustabout. Thing's pretty cool. This was a very unique vehicle in the Presley Motors Museum. This is one of those things, like in the 70s, they came out with some really weird stuff. And I feel like this fits right in that category. Just slides right in, drives right in on 3 wheels, really. Joe, right below what appears to be that ejection handle, this is the name of this thing. Is that Roop or Roop?
Could be either.
And then Centuron. But yeah, I think this was the birth of the Jazzy. Other interesting thing here is this was only made from 1974 to 1975, which...
It's not saying much.
I can't understand why it only lasted for a year. That's weird, but okay, here it is. One of Elvis's interesting toys.
Look at him sitting in it. He does not give a chapstick.
This is Elvis's 1960 Rolls-Royce Silver Cloud. Now, the cool thing with this is he bought this new in 1960. He was only 25 years old.
He was a baller.
Yeah,
he was the OB, the original baller.
The black one was on display, and then they also had the white one on display. The white one is cool too, but that's a 1966 Rolls-Royce Silver Cloud 3, not to be confused with the 2. Elvis owns several Rolls-Royces over his life. This is the 1955 Cadillac Fleetwood. Wasn't this your favorite car there?
It was. It's very pretty.
Didn't they say that Elvis gave this to Gladys, but she didn't have a driver's license?
Yes.
You think she drove it anyway?
I don't know. I would have. I hope she did. And I hope she had a blast doing it.
Yeah. But this was the only car that Elvis kept like all the way from beginning to when he died. This one here. Called it Gladys' car because she loved it so much.
It's very cool.
Elvis had quite a history with Stutz, the Blackhawk. He actually got the first one that was scheduled to be delivered to Frank Sinatra. Elvis Presley didn't see it that way. So he talked to the dealership that was going to deliver it to Frank and said, hey, look, here's the thing. You want to send it to Frank Sinatra or me? Needless to say, it was delivered to Elvis in Las Vegas at the International Hotel in 1970. The first one that you're seeing right here, this was the 1971 Stutz Blackhawk. This one was actually totaled by a hired driver. It's since been restored. But the interesting fact is Elvis also had a 1973 Stutz Blackhawk, and that would be the last car he ever drove. In the photo behind the car, if you look, that's Elvis driving the 1973 Stutz back to the gates of Graceland on the night he died.
And you can see the key that belongs to, which car was it?
I would say it's to the 73.
Not a very attractive car, in my opinion.
Are you kidding me? That thing reeks of awesome. The Stutz doesn't leak oil. That's just sweat from all that horsepower. For our next stop, we're going to head over to the Making of Elvis movie exhibition. Every time I walked into an exhibit, I felt like it was Christmas morning because I didn't know what we were getting ready to see.
Yeah, you're right. I felt like that too.
Did you notice on this, Joe, this was the movie script with like notes from Baz and stuff like that on it?
I did. I wish I could have sat there longer and read all of it.
Yeah, there's a lot of reading to do.
It was really cool.
I saw in the movie that Colonel Parker had that cane with the clown on it. You think he really had a clown on his cane in real life or no?
Yeah, I do.
After all, he was the snowman. Not sure what that has to do with the clown, but... Oh, wait, that's because of his circus heritage, right?
Mm-hmm.
I wonder if he's related to Bozo.
He was.
I know as a kid, Elvis was a big fan of Captain Marvel Jr. And as I sat here and looked at this comic book, I noticed that there was a lot of similarities between Captain Marvel Jr. and EP. Like the suit, kind of like that, the cape, you know, the hairdo.
The lightning bolt.
Yeah, I wonder if that lightning bolt is where he got the idea for the lightning bolt and the TCB logo.
Good question. And look at the hair. Very similar.
Yeah, even the color, right?
I really enjoyed this part.
With all the costumes.
Yeah.
Yeah, me too. I liked it because there was some that really like kicked for me. Like I was like, oh yeah, I remember that. Some of them I didn't really remember as well as others, but you know, they have the nice writings to show you, oh yeah, this was in that scene or this scene. But yeah, this is really cool. Do you remember him telling us that when Tom Hanks would get the fat suit on to play Colonel Parker, it took like 5 hours?
Mm-hmm.
5 hours every single time before you filmed.
What do you do if you need a bathroom break?
I don't know. Maybe you defat and go to the bathroom. I don't know.
Maybe they have a hose.
A hose? What do you mean, like a garden hose that runs from his dressing room seat to the bathroom? That could be a serious tripping hazard. This is actually my favorite suit in the movie. I love this scene. That's my favorite scene in the whole movie. The cool thing I noticed when we were there is that the tie has little RCA dogs on it with a megaphone, which is kind of cool.
Oh, I forgot about that part.
Yeah, and the other thing I learned when we went to Graceland is that they didn't actually film this at Graceland. They built like a mock scale? That was his house in Australia?
Yes.
Yeah, I had no idea. They did a great job at that.
Yep. Every scene was a set. Nothing was filmed at Graceland.
This is a Christmas sweater for me. Very fancy. I think that would take the cake in the ugly sweater contest, for sure.
Oh, I kind of like it.
The lady that played Shankadukare, when she sang Hound Dog, it was awesome.
This was a cool costume.
For sure. She ain't nothing but a hound dog, crying all the time. So during the movie, when Colonel Parker was writing on the tablecloth, making this contract with the International Hotel dude, I was really amazed at Graceland because this was a real thing. And there it is. This is the actual tablecloth at that table that Colonel Parker negotiated Elvis's 5-year contract with the International Hotel.
Mm-hmm. And they did it on the tablecloth because at the time they didn't have a piece of paper.
Right. The contract was later done in proper contract form, but initially, this is how it started. I think the Elvis movie has brought in a lot of new Elvis fans.
Mm-hmm. Myself included.
And the truth is, once you learn about Elvis Presley, you can't help but love the guy. The last building we went in was the Elvis Career Museum, and I gotta tell you, it did not disappoint.
This was Elvis's Army career section. It had his uniforms, pictures, articles, just all things that pertain to him being in the Army. It was a very neat section. I really liked it. I spent a lot of time in there.
This is the TV that shows Elvis disliked a few things: seafood and Robert Goulet. Even though it was presented to Elvis after he died, this is the Presidential Medal of Freedom.
Presented in 2018, signed by Donald Trump.
This was a receipt from 1975 for some jewelry that Elvis had gotten, and I thought this one was really interesting because if you look on here, the 12-karat TCB ring is on here. He paid $22,000 for that in 1975. That's more than he paid for the Ferrari.
$52,000 in one shopping trip.
Just a drop in the bucket for the king.
He was the king of bling.
At first, I couldn't tell if that was a ruby or a bowling ball. It was huge. Elvis preferred gold jewelry, and if you ever saw him wearing silver jewelry, it was usually because it was a gift from a fan or something like that. Some of this jewelry I recognized from some of his concerts. I'm pretty sure I saw him wearing this Elvis pendant during the Hawaii concert. This is a very epic room. Elvis has earned over 171 gold records, 94 platinum, and 34 multi-platinum discs. He's sold over 1 billion records worldwide. And that doesn't include the 1,700 plus live concerts he did and 31 feature films, which is absolutely incredible. Graceland also told us this isn't all of his awards. They just don't have room to fit the rest of them. During Elvis's career, he only won 3 Grammys, which I personally think he should have won a lot more, and according to his record sales and fans, I'd say they agree. As you walk through this showcase of gold records and such, you need to stop and you look at the different albums, different records, different songs that he had recorded. We're reminded just how special this man was. Not only was he an extremely gifted performer and musician, he was also a very kind-hearted man. I think most people would agree, and I think it's very safe to say, Elvis was one of a kind. There will never be another Elvis Presley. This is a receipt for Elvis's tailor, and I think this is kind of cool, is if you notice in here there's a turquoise jumpsuit, some embroidered belts, and an eagle design cape with heavy jeweled embroidery and matching belt. I'm pretty sure that this was after the Hawaii concert, and he threw his cape and his belt out to the audience, so these were replacements for him. Speaking of jumpsuits, check this out. So Joe, when you saw this, when you walked in this room and you saw all these suits in this room, what were you thinking? How'd you feel?
It was very overwhelming. Completely epic. I could not believe what I was seeing.
I mean, my gosh, man, you think about all the places he played and all the concerts he did. These were there. I mean, this was it. You know, these are icons. Each one of these suits is a freaking icon, and they're awesome. There's so many of them. Something really interesting about this suit right here, this is the American Eagle suit, and probably, in my opinion, one of the most iconic ones that Elvis ever wore. He wore it at the Hawaii special that was broadcast to almost over 1 billion people. But anyway, at the end of this concert, he takes his cape and he throws it into the audience, right? And Vernon was kind of pissed because he needed it for an upcoming concert, so he didn't have it. Anyway, they had a couple made for him and what have you, but the guy that caught this at this concert right here, when he died in his will, it was to be returned to Graceland. And now it is back at Graceland, where it sits right there on top of that suit.
Yeah.
So this suit right here is extremely iconic too. This is the gold lame suit. And Elvis did not like the pants of this suit right here. So what he would do, because he didn't want to wear them, but Colonel Parker insisted. So what he would do at the concert, he'd run across the stage and then slide on the knees and rip the lame out. And after Parker replaced the lame so many times, he was over it. He didn't want to replace it anymore, so Elvis didn't have to wear these pants anymore.
Ladies and gentlemen, Elvis has left the building. Thank you and good night.
I'll tell you something, Joe. I feel like that trip to Graceland went by real fast.
Definitely did. Too fast.
I'd say that's definitely a 10 out of 10 on like places to go and see and experience.
Yes, I agree.
Yeah, I think the thing for me about it was like, you know, it brings, like, you know, you listen to Elvis's music, you see his movies, but when you're there at Graceland, you know, you're in his house, you're seeing his cars, you're seeing his clothes, you're handling you're
smelling his boots,
trying not to lick them. But I mean, it kind of brings it all together where, you know, you get to see like the human side of Elvis Presley, which is, it's really nice, and I thought it was really nice.
Yeah.
It was great.
I'm glad you had fun.
I did have a great time. So anyways.
Thank you for bringing me.
You're welcome. Thank you for having me. So anyways, we're going to wrap this one up, but this is a 3-part series, so if you just watched this one, watch the first part, which is the Elvis Presley's guest house, which is the hotel, which is awesome. Then the second part is Elvis Presley's house, Graceland, which is awesome. And then the one you just saw, which was the exhibition center or museum, as it were.
Right.
So we hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, make sure to like, share, and subscribe, because it lets us know you care. Leave some comments down below. We love to read the comments. And we'll see you guys next time on Fun in the South. Bye.
Bye.